Hello and welcome back to Get Great at Maths. I'm here to help you pass your maths exam, so hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to look at keywords, key formulas and how to gain top marks. So let's get ready to get great at maths. This is a question to look at finding the largest number. So the keywords in the question are we've got to circle the greatest number. This is worth 1 mark in the exam. Our key facts are that we need to know about our place value. So you need to know what a million is, 100,000, tens of thousands, thousand, hundreds, tens, ones, and these are all the place values that we have got in all of these numbers. So you can see they've all got the millions, the hundreds of thousands, the tens of thousands, the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. So you can see each the place value for each of these numbers, and it is exactly the same for each of them. And you've got to work out which is the greatest number. And the word greatest means the largest. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to write down one of these numbers or write them all down and circle the one which is the largest. So great work if you have done that. Fantastic. So we're going to look at the greatest number. So we're going to look at the place values. We're going to look at the millions column, which is the first column. So we're going to look at the first number in each of these is a 9. So it's exactly the same. So we're now going to go to the 100,000s. So we're going to look, we've got a 2, a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 2. So they're both exactly the same in all of these numbers. Now we're going to look at the tens of thousands. So I've got a 0, a 1, a 0, a 1, and a 0. Now 2 of these are larger than the others, so the one with the 1 and the 1 here are both the largest that we've got so far. So we've got to work out from these two numbers which of these two numbers is the largest. We're now going to go to the thousands column. So we've got a 5 here in the thousands, and we've got a 5 here in the thousands. We're now going to go to the hundreds column. I've got a 3 here in the hundreds column, and I've got a 2 here. So 3 is larger than 2, which means this number up here is the largest. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work. So the number 9,215,300 was the largest. So that is the number you should circle. And this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Well done if you got it correct. Great work. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark, 1 M, for the correct answer being circled, which was for 9,215,300. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. We're going to look at this question and the keywords in the question. We're told that we have got one table that you can see in the diagram. And this can seat 8 people. So around here you've got 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chairs around this table. You're asked how many tables are needed for 40 people. So you've got 40 people which will be sitting on the chairs. How many tables are you going to need? And this is going to be worth 1 mark in the exam. So the key things you've got to do in this question are we have got to share the 40 people around the number of tables. So we're going to share the 40 by 8. So you need to know that the word sharing means divide. So that should help you work out how many tables there are here. Remember to write your answer in the box. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, everyone. Well done. So what we needed to do is we've got 40 people. So to work out how many tables we need, we've got to do 40 divided by the 8 people, which is going to give you 5. So you need to know that 40 divided by 8 is 5. Just knowing your times table facts, and then write 5 in the box provided. To help you divide by 8, you can halve 40 to give you 20, halve it again to give you 10, and halve it again, will give you 5. So if you halve the number 3 times, that is the same as dividing by 8. Or just know that 40 divided by 8 is 5 if you know your times tables, which you should do. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark. 1M means 1 method mark for the answer 5. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on place value, and we're going to be looking at the keywords on the question. And you've got to write in the missing number to make the addition correct. This is worth 1 mark in the exam, and you need to know the key facts which are about your place value. So you need to know your thousands column, which is what we have got here. You've got your hundreds of thousands, your tens of thousands, your thousands, then your hundreds, then your tens, and then your ones. So you need to look at what you've been given to start with, what you've got at the end, what place values you've been given, and what is the missing value. You need to write your answer in the box. Press pause, have a think about the answer, press play when you're ready to hear the answer. So well done if you've managed to get an answer. So you need to look at the answer over here, 430,070. The 70 is here. The 400,000 is here. But the bit that is missing is where this 3 is. So we need to do the place value of this. Now this is the 100,000s column. This is the tens of thousand column. So it's 3, 0, and then all these other ones become 0 as well. So it's 3, 0, 0, 0, 0 for 30,000. So that's what needs to go in the box, 30,000. This will give you 1 mark in the exam. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 30,000 for 1 mark. 1M means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on estimating. The keywords in the question are you're told that you have got estimates of 5 children. And you can see the 5 children here, and these are their estimates. You're told the exact number of beans in a jar was actually 1,380. You've got to write down whose estimate. So when it says the word whose, which person, so you've got to write down their name, was closest to the exact number. So which one of these 5 people was closest to 1,380? And this is worth 1 mark. Write your answer on the line. Then the next part says whose estimate was furthest from the exact number. Again, write the answer on the line for 1 mark. Now this whose, you've got to work out who the person is. Now your key fact is that the word estimate just means round. So this number here has been rounded to one of these answers, and this is what people think, and you've got to work out which is closest and which is furthest away from this number here. Press pause, have a think about the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. So the easiest way to do this is to look at the number 1,380 and work out what the difference is between each of these children's numbers and the actual number. Now to get from 1,310 to 1,380, the difference numbers are the 80 and the 10. So 80 take away 10 is 70, so the difference is 70. Here I've got 1,220. Now to get from 220 all the way up to 300, I have to add on 80. Then I've got another 80 here from the 300 to the 880. So I've got 80 plus 80, which is 160. Then between 1,400 and 1,380, to get from 80 to make it up to the 100, we're just adding on 20. To get from 1,290, add on 10 to take it to 300, then add on another 80, so 10 plus 80 is 90. Then we're going to 1,460. So here, if I add on 10, that will take me to 400. then add on 60. So 60 plus the 20 will give me 80. So 20 to add it to 400, add on the 60 after 400, gives me 80. So we've got to look at the closest to the exact number. So which of these differences is the smallest? So if you look down my list, it's now easy to see the smallest number here is for 20, which is for Emma. So you just need to write Emma on the line. Then we want the furthest, so that is the largest of these numbers. So this is the 160, which is Olivia. So you just need to write Olivia on the line to get the answer. Give yourself a big tick if you've got these two correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark for Emma, so 1M means 1 mark, 1M for Olivia. On the right hand side, it tells you if you wrote the number instead of writing the person, it will be awarded the mark. So make sure you read the question carefully and you've either written down the person or the number. Either will give you the right answer, but you were meant to write down the person's name. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on converting units. The key words we've got in the question. We're told that 1 tonne is 1,000 kilograms. The truck has 2.3 tonnes. That's how much it can carry. And you need to work out how many kilograms the truck can carry. So basically what you've got to do is convert this 2.3 tonnes into kilograms. And you need to write your answer in the box. This is worth 1 mark in the exam. So to help us do this question, we need to know some key facts. So when I'm going from tonnes to kilograms, if 1 tonne is 1,000 kilograms, to convert from tonnes to kilograms, all you have to do is multiply by this number here, 1,000. So to convert the number of tonnes into kilograms, we're going to be multiplying by 1,000. Now to multiply by 1,000, you need to look at the digits, and all the digits are going to get bigger, so they're going to move to the left. And the number of times they move to the left is the number of zeros after 1,000. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 places. So to multiply by 1,000, we're going to move the digits 3 places to the left. Press pause, have a go at converting 2.3 tonnes into kilograms, and then press play when you've got yourself an answer. Great work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. Fantastic work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually multiply this 2.3 by 1,000. So 2.3, we're going to look at the 2. It's going to move 3 places to the left. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3 places to the left. That will take us into the thousands column. So this is going to be 2,000. Consequently, if the 2 has gone to the thousands column, then the 3 has got to go to the hundreds column. And in the rest of the gaps, we need to put zeros. So I'm going to be doing 2.3 times 1,000. The 2 moves over 3 places. So from where it was here, the 1's place, it's going to go 1, 2, 3 places here to the thousands column. The 3 was behind the decimal point, so that's not seen in the answer. So it was here, and now it's going to go 1, 2, 3 places to the left. So it becomes the hundreds column. And we need to put 2 zeros in the gap. So your answer is 2,300. Now you could have done it by moving the decimal point, so it could have gone 1, 2, 3 places to the right, and there are 2 gaps there for where the zeros were, so it's exactly the same. So here was the decimal point, just going to go 1, 2, 3. In the gaps you need to put the zeros. It does exactly the same. It's personal preference as to which way you prefer to do it. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 2,300. Note this is just a comma between here. You do not need to include the comma. You could have just written 2,300 and you would still be correct. But if you are putting a comma in, make sure it's a nice little small neat one so it's nice and clear that your answer is 2,300. This will give you 1 mark in the exam. 1M here means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem question. The key words in the question we're told we have got 5 litres. So you can see over here, this is the 5 litre bag we have got. And we're told we're using 2.75 litres. You've got to work out how much is left. And you've got to write your answer in the box here. And this will give you 1 mark in the exam. So the key facts to help us answer this question are we need to know how much means the answer is a number. So this bit in the question here, how much, we want to know what number value or how many litres are going to be left. And the word left means that you are going to subtract. So when it says how many is left, it means you have got to subtract. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to be able to do a subtraction here to be able to work out how much Emma has left. So we have got 5 litres and we're going to subtract 2.75 to work out what is left. So here is my sum. Remember, we're going to do this sum in written down. We need to put 5.00 to be able to do the subtraction sum here. Some people will be able to just do this in their head. They'll be able to do 5 take away 2 and then take away the 0.75 and just work that out in their head. But a lot of children will find that difficult to do in their head, and if you can't, this is the written way to be able to do it. Now we always start on the right hand side and we look 0 take away 5. So you should realise we can't do 0 take 5, so we need to borrow from the next number here, which is a 0. We have got nothing to borrow here, so we have to borrow from the next digit here, which is the 5. So I'm going to cross out the 5, I make it a 4, and then I'm going to take a 10 to this next column here. Now I can borrow from this 10. So the 10 makes this a 9, and then I've got a 10 here. So I've now got 10 take away 5, which is going to be 5. 9 take away 7, which is going to be 2. The decimal point stays in line. And then I've got 4 take away 2, which is 2. And we need to write our answer in the box. If you did it in your head, you could have just done 5 take away 2 is 3. Take away 0.75. Now you should know 0.75 is 3/4. So 1 take away 3/4 is just a quarter, and a quarter is 0.25. So take 3/4 from the 3, leaves you with 2.25. You just have a big tick if you got that correct. Great work. It doesn't matter whether you had to write down your working or you could do it in your head. Either way, as long as you got the correct answer, that's all that matters. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1M, which means 1 method mark. So the answer is 2.25, but you can see over here on the left-hand side. There is extra guidance if you need it for the marking. So for example, if you'd written a quarter or a fraction, then that would be allowed. And you can see where the extra marks are on page 16 of the actual mark scheme. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a fraction problem. In this question, we're told some key information, which is that the swim is 1/10 of the total distance. The run is 3/10 of the total distance. And you can see at the top that there was a race where it was running, swimming, and then a bike ride. And you've got to work out what fraction of the total distance was a bike ride. Your answer needs to get written in the box, and this is going to be worth 1 mark in the exam. Now the key facts are when you add or subtract any fractions, your denominator, which is the number at the bottom of your fraction, so in this case here is a 10, must be the same before you can subtract. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to work out what the total distance is for bike riding. So to start with, we need to know how far we have swum and run. So that means I need to add together the 1/10 plus the 3/10. I'm going to add these together. Now, because the denominators are already the same, that means I can literally just add my numerators, which are the numbers at the top. So 1 plus 3 is 4, and the denominator stays the same. Now, you should spot that both of these numbers are even, which means we can cancel this fraction down. So half of 4 is 2, half of 10 is 5. So 4 over 10 is the same as 2/5. Now if I draw that out, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections, 2/5 is 2 of these sections. Now we have got 2/5 is the distance travelled so far. The remainder, okay, is the bike ride, because we've got to work out the total distance of the bike ride. So these two sections here are the distance travelled by the swimming and the running, but we've got to work out what the bike ride is, so what is left. So you can see from the diagram there are 3 sections here that haven't been coloured in, so that is what is left. So that is 1, 2, 3 sections out of the total of 5 sections, so the answer is going to be 3/5. Now if we did it without drawing a diagram, we could say we have got one whole one and we're going to take away this 2/5. Now I can do that by saying one whole one is the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections out of 5. So 5 over 5 is the same as one whole one. My denominators are the same. So 5 take away 2 is 3. So my numerator is 3. So I have got 3/5, which is the same as what you have got here in the diagram for white sections that haven't been coloured in. Remember to write your answer in the box provided, and this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 6 over 10 for 1m. Now we didn't get the answer of 6 over 10, we got the answer of 3 over 5. Now 6 over 10 and 3 over 5 are equivalent. They are exactly the same answer. So it says accept equivalent fractions and decimals. So if you'd have written the answer as 3 over 5 or 0.6, so 6 over 10, 6 divided by 10 is 0.6. But it says do not accept 60%. So you can only write your answer as a fraction or a decimal. Percentage is not acceptable. Personally, I think 3 over 5 is the better answer because that is in its simplest form. So it's always good to cancel your answer down if you can do. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on improper fractions. So the key words in the question are that you've got to circle the improper fraction that is equivalent to 2 and 3/8. Now to be able to do this, this will give you 1 mark, and your key facts are that the word improper fraction means that is a number in the numerator is larger than number in the denominator. So if you look at these fractions down below, the majority of them, the number at the top is bigger than the number underneath. So the ones where the number at the top is bigger than the one underneath, these are all improper fractions. So you can look by looking at this list here, and you can see the one on the left is not an improper fraction. So this one will definitely not be the answer. So it'll be one of these remaining ones over here on the right. The word equivalent means exactly the same. So we've got to find the fraction that is equivalent to 2 and 3/8. Now 2 and 3/8 is a mixed fraction because you've got a whole number and a fraction, and we've got to convert it to an improper fraction or a top-heavy fraction. We've got to work out which one of these it is. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer and decided which one you were going to circle. So to start with, we're going to think about the definition of 2 and 3/8. So I'm going to draw out the whole ones. Now the denominator tells me there are 8 sections. So if I draw out 8 sections, that is one whole one. Then I draw out another 8 sections, that is another whole one. And then I'm going to have 3/8, so I need another section for the 3/8. So we're just going to colour those in to see what we've got. So this is one whole one here, this section here, one whole one, plus another whole one will give me the 2 whole ones. So this section here is 2 whole ones. Then I've got 3/8. So that is 3 out of the 8 sections that are coloured in. From here, I now need to count how many squares have been coloured in, and then that will give me the numerator of the fraction, and the denominator is going to be over 8 because the denominator doesn't change. So you can see here all these fractions are over 8. So we've got to work out which is the numerator. So I've got a section of 8 plus another 8. Now 8 plus 8 is 16. Plus 3 17, 18, 19. You can see here, this fraction here, 19 over 8, is the correct fraction, which is the improper fraction because there are 19 sections coloured in out of the 8 sections available. Now, if we did that without drawing the diagram, all you have to do is times the number of whole ones by the denominator. So 2 times 8 is 16. Add on the numerator, which is 3, which gives you the 19. So it's personal preference whether you draw it out or just work it out in your head. So 2 times 8 is 16, plus the 3 gives you the 19. And that's how you do it quickly in your head. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 19 over 8. 1M means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on pictograms. The keywords of the question are we're told we've got a pictogram and we're told on Monday there were 24 DVDs. You can see this in the diagram here. This represents 24 DVDs. You've got to work out how many were sold on Friday. You can see Friday here in your diagram. This is the key bits of information we're interested in, Monday and Friday. You need to write your answer in the box provided, and this is worth 1 mark in the exam. Now our key facts are that we need to work out the value of one of these CDs. So we know Monday there were 24 CDs sold. So what is one of these diagrams or one of these circles, one of these CDs, actually worth? Once you know what one of them is worth, then you can apply that to work out how many there are for Friday. Remembering, if you had 2 of them, you would double it. If you had 3 of them, you would times by 3. However many you've got, that's what you need to multiply by. But if you've only got a half of a CD, then you've got to halve the amount for one to work out this half at the top. See if you can work out how many CDs were sold on Friday. Press pause while you work out the answer and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So we're told on Monday we have got 24 DVDs. So to work out the cost of one or what one of these DVDs is, we've got to do the 24 divided by the 1, 2, 3 circles, which is going to give me 8. So each of these CDs is worth 8. Now on Friday we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole CDs. So if I do 6 times 8, that will give me 48, which is what this section from here to here is worth. So that is 48 CDs in total sold. But I've got this little section at the top, which is half a CD. Now we know a whole CD, one of these whole CDs is 8. So when I've got a half a CD, I've just got to divide it by 2, which gives me 4. So this section at the top is equivalent to 4. Now we've got to work out how many there were on Friday. So that is the total for Friday. So it's the 48 plus the 4, which is going to give you 52. And that answer needs to get written in the box. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is 52 for 1M, which means 1 method mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. The key bits of information in the question are we're told that we buy 1 box for £1.90. We're told we get the second box half price. We're told we buy 2 boxes of the cereal and you've got to calculate how much we pay altogether. It says here on the question that you must show your method. The answer must be written in the box and this will give you 2 marks in the exam. Your key facts are that you need to know the word half means you're dividing by 2. So you're going to split the number by 2. So you're going to halve it. And the word altogether means the total or add. So you're going to work out your total by adding. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So to start with, we're going to look at halving the £1.90, which means we're going to divide £1.90 by 2. Now, some of you will be able to do this in your head, others of you won't be able to see how to do it in your head, and you need to write it down. So if we write it down, we say how many times does 2 go into 1? And it doesn't, so it's a 0. So we're going to cross out the 1, and I'm going to put it up here to make it now 19. Now my decimal point is here, so there's going to be a decimal point appears above, and I say how many times does 2 go into 19? Now 2 times 9 is 18. So that means there is 1 left over, so that little 1 gets put in here. And then I've got to do 2 into the number 10, which is 5. So half of £1.90 is 0.95 pounds, which is the same as 95 pence. Now our answer is in terms of pounds, so there's no point in converting to pence because we might as well just work in pounds. If you were going to do it in your head, you could have said half of £1 is 50 pence, half of 90p is 45p, 50 plus 45 is 95, so that's why it's 95 pence or 0.95. Now I've got to work out the cost altogether. So I've got to add £1.90 plus 0.95. So start on the right hand side, 0 plus 5 is 5, 9 plus 9 is 18. Remember we carry the 1 up here, the 8 comes down here. Decimal point stays in line, then I've got 1 plus 1 gives me 2. So my answer is £2.85. Remember to write your answer in the box provided and give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there are 2 marks for this question. This is what the 2M here means. Now you get 2 marks for the correct answer of £2.85, but if you made a mistake, so if you try to do 190 divided by 2 and then add your answer you got onto the 190 or the £1.90, you would get a method mark, so you would get 1 out of the 2 marks. Or if you try to do £1.90 times by 1.5, because it's 1 times and half a time again, so 1.5, that will also give you a mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on equivalent fractions. The key words of the question, but you need to write in the missing values. So these are the numbers in this box at the top and at the bottom. This is worth 1 mark in the exam. And your key fact is that you need to multiply your numerator or denominator by the same number to keep the fraction the same. Now it might be multiply or divide. So you need to work out what you need to do to one to get to the other. So for example, what do you need to do to your denominator to get to the other one? You need to do exactly the same to the numerator to work out the missing answer. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work! Hopefully you've managed to come up with 2 different answers. So if I start with the first one, I'm looking at the denominator. I'm working out how to get from 10 to 20. So to get from 10 to 20, you may think you're going to add on 10, which is true, but we're looking at a multiple of it. So we're looking at either multiplying or dividing rather than adding and subtracting. So we have to multiply by something or divide by something. So 10 times by 2 is 20. So the number I'm looking for here was times by 2 or doubling. So if I double 10, I get to 20. So I need to do the same to the 3. So I'm going to multiply 3 by 2, which is going to give me 6. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. Well done. Next one, the numbers on the left are bigger than the numbers on the right. So instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide. So how do I get from 12 to 4? I'm going to divide. So dividing 12 by 4 gives me 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. So that's how I work it out. What is 12 divided by 4? It's 3. So 12 divided by 3 gives me the 4. So that means I need to do the same to the 15. So I'm going to do 15 divided by 3, which is going to give you 5. So that needs to be the answer in the second box. Give yourself a big tick if you got these correct. Great work. You need to get both of these answers correct to get the 1 mark in the exam. The mark scheme on this question shows it's 1M, which means 1 method mark for getting both the 6 and the 5 correct. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on ordering numbers. The key facts in the question, but we've got to write out the masses in order, starting with the heaviest. This is going to be worth 1 mark in the exam, and it says at the bottom we've got the heaviest, so the heaviest weight goes here on the left-hand side, and then moving down until we end up with the lightest weight over here on the right-hand side. Now our key facts are that we need to know that the word heaviest means the largest weight. So which one of these is the heaviest or the largest weight or the largest number? You need to remember that 1 kilogram is the same as 1,000 grams. And you need to make all the units the same in order to be able to compare them. Now I would recommend converting them all into grams because it's much easier to convert them into grams and compare the grams rather than comparing in kilograms. But either way will give you the correct answer. You need to write the same form as what is given in the question. So if you've got 1.4 kilograms, you need to write 1.4 kilograms down the bottom rather than the number in grams. So make sure you're using the original numbers in the answer down here. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, guys. So let's see if you got this correct. So we're going to convert the ones which are in kilograms into grams, so they're all the same. So 1.4 kilograms. Now we're told that 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So to get 1.4 kilograms, I need to multiply 1.4 by 1,000. So the digits are going to move 3 places to the left. So that is going to give me 1,400 grams. All the decimal pointers move between the 1 and the 4, and it goes 1, 2, 3 places to the right when we multiply by 1,000. 1,500 grams is already in grams. You should now spot that 1,500 is heavier than 1,400. We've got 2 kilograms. So 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. So 2 kilograms, double it, is going to be 2,000 grams. So looking at the numbers so far, 2,000 is the largest number we've got. And the last one on the end is 300 grams. So now we've got the 4 numbers in terms of grams, we're going to look at ordering them starting with the heaviest. So the heaviest is the largest number, which is the 2,000 grams. But we don't write 2,000 grams, we're going to write the 2 kilograms, which is the number given at the start. So I've got 2 kilograms here. Next, I've got 1,500, which is the next biggest, and it is written as 1,500 grams, so I'm just going to write this in the question here. Next, I've got 1,400 grams, but this is written as 1.4 kilograms, so that goes in the next box. And the last box is just the 300 grams. Please have a big tick if you got these correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows the answer is worth 1 mark, 1M, for the answers being given in the correct form as I showed you. If you did write them all out in terms of grams, then you are also correct, or if you wrote them in this form here where the units aren't stated, then that is also allowed. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on distance time graphs. Now, distance time graphs always have the time along the x-axis or the bottom axis, and the distance is always in the vertical axis. And something that you really need to be familiar with are distance time graphs throughout your maths experience at school. So you'll need it for your Key Stage 2 SATS, and you'll also need it for GCSE, and it even goes on into A level. So these are really important graphs, and you need to make sure you understand the basics of what are going on with these graphs. Now, the key words in the question are that you've got to match the correct sentence to each part. So here we've got some sections of the graph. So for example, from A to B, that means between A and B, you've then got to say what Dev does on his bike. So does he rest for 10 minutes? Does he cycle 1 kilometre in 10 minutes? Does he cycle 3 kilometres in 10 minutes? Or does he cycle less than 1 kilometre in 10 minutes? You've got to decide and draw a line between what each of these to make sure they line up correctly. If you line them all up correctly, you will get 1 mark. Now, key facts. You need to know that when you get a horizontal or flat line, so this section here between B and C, it means that the person is not moving. So this person here, Dev, started at B at 3 kilometres And then at C, he's also at 3 kilometres, which means the person hasn't moved anywhere. So they're in the same spot. They are stationary. So they haven't gone anywhere. So they are sitting still. So that's what this horizontal line means. Then the steeper your line, so between A and B, you've got the steepest line. And between D and E, you've got the least steep line. The steeper the line, the faster the journey. So the more distance covered, so you've got a greater acceleration, which is something you'll learn about as you go up the schools. Think about what is going on with the sections. Think about the answers. Press pause, see if you can match them up, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, guys. Well done. Hopefully you've managed to match up all these sentences. So the easiest one to start with is this horizontal section here, B to C. So we're going to look at this one here, B to C. So we've already said when we've got a flat or horizontal line, it means you are not moving. So the only one of these where you're not moving is this top one here where it says you rest for 10 minutes. So that means B to C goes up to the top here. We're going to next look at the first section going between A and B. So 10 minutes is the time taken between A and B. And in those 10 minutes, we have travelled 3 kilometres. So you can look up here, we've gone 3 kilometres. So in 10 minutes, we have gone 3 kilometres. So if you look down here at the rest of the answers, the only one that has got 3 kilometres in is this one here. So it says Dev cycles 3 kilometres in 10 minutes. Yes, he did. So in 10 minutes, he'd gone 3 kilometres. So between A and B, we match up this sentence here. Next, we're going to look at C to D. So again, between C and D, we're going between 20 and 30 minutes, which again is 10 minutes. So you can see all these answers here are at 10 minutes of time because there's 10 minutes between every single gap. So in 10 minutes, how far have we gone? So we started off at 3 kilometres. We go up to 4 kilometres. So 4 take away 3 is 1. So we have gone 1 kilometre in 10 minutes. So that is our second sentence here. Cycles 1 kilometre in 10 minutes. Last one then, D to E, says that he cycles less than 1 kilometre in 10 minutes. So you can see up here, this is 10 minutes from D to E going across between 30 and 40. 1 kilometre would be between 4 and 5, but we haven't gone to 1 kilometre, we've gone less than 1 kilometre, so that last sentence here is correct. You have a big tick if you got those correct. Great work. The mark scheme on this question shows there's one M, which means one method mark for getting all 4 of the lines correct. So you need to make sure that you get all 4 correct to get the mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. You were told that you have got 850 millilitres and it makes 17 drinks. So you can see here my bottle of squash is 850 millilitres and it is for 17 drinks. You've got to work out how many millilitres of squash are in each drink. You're going to have 17 cups out. You've got to work out how much of the squash is going to go into each cup. You need to write your answer in the box here. The units have already been given here, millilitres, and this will be worth 1 mark in the exam. Now your key facts. We're basically going to be doing some sharing. So we've got to share the 17 into that, or the 850 by 17. We've got to share the total amount of squash between the 17 cups or the 17 drinks that we're going to make. And this word share means divide. And to do a division, we're going to use the bus stop method. Now, because we're divided by 17, we're actually going to count up in 17 first because it's likely we may have to use long division here. So if I start with my 17 times table, that will help you work out the answer. Then use the division method, so using the bus stop method to do some division, and then you should be able to come up with how many millilitres. Press pause, have a go on working out the answer, press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. So hopefully you started by writing down your 17 times table. So 17 is your first number. Nice, easy start. Now we need to double this or add on another 17. So 7 plus 7 is 14. 10 plus 10 is 20. So 20 plus 14 gives you 34. Now we need to add on another 17. So we're going to start with the 7 plus 4. 7 plus 4 is going to give me 11. Add on a 10 and another 10, which will give me 51. Again, I'm going to add on another 17. So the 7 plus the 1 is an 8. 1 plus 5 is 6. So that is 68. We're now going to do 8 plus 7 is 15. Add on the 10, which takes you from 60 to 70. Add on another 10, which is to 80. So we've got 85. Now, if you look here, the start number here is 85. So I'm not going to go any higher. From here, you can possibly even work out the answer without actually having to do the division. But I'm going to show you how it works with the division. Here's my bus stop. I've divided by 17, so that's the number that goes at the front of the bus stop. And the number underneath is what I'm splitting it into, so the 850. So how much is in this squash bottle? Now I look at 17 into 8, it doesn't go. So I cross out the 8 and then I write it as a little 8 here. 17 into 85. Now we can see here it goes in exactly into 85. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So it goes in 5 times up here. Then I've got 17 into 0, which is just 0. So that means my answer is going to be 50, but we need to write it in the box here provided. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark, 1M, for getting the answer 50. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on inequalities. You've got to write down the correct sign of the symbols you can see here in each box. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes to write your answer, so some of these will be repeated, and this will give you 2 marks in the exam. Now your key facts to help us answer this question. We need to work out the value of each side first. So you need to work out what is going on the left-hand side. These are all multiplied. And the ones on the right-hand side are exactly the same number as the left-hand side, but these ones are added. You've then got to remember that the crocodile eats the largest thing. So when you're looking at this inequality sign, imagine this is a crocodile's mouth, and you've got a crocodile here behind the inequality, and the crocodile eats the biggest number. So that's the easiest way to help you remember which way round this inequality goes. The symbol here is the easiest one. It means equals. You're very familiar with that symbol. The symbol here means less than. The words, you do not need to remember the words. If you remember the crocodile eats the largest thing, then this is just the less than signs. The crocodile is eating the biggest thing, which will be on the right hand side. Here I've got a greater than symbol, which means the thing the crocodile is eating will be on the left hand side this time, because the crocodile's mouth always is eating the largest thing. So your largest number will go on the left on this side and on the right on this one here. Work out the values of each side first. Press pause. Work out what symbol is going to go in between once you've worked out what's on each side, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer and worked out what goes in these boxes here. So we're going to start at the top on the left hand side. So I've got 1 times 2 times 3. Now be careful. 1 times 2 is 2. It is not 3. So 1 times 2 is 2. Times by 3 is 6. So the left hand side here is 6. The right hand side, I've got 1 plus 2, which is 3, plus 3 is also 6. So these two things are exactly the same, which means in the middle we need to put an equal sign, because 6 is equal to 6. The next one, I've got 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. So the left hand side is equal to 8. 2 plus 2 is also 4, plus another 2 is 6. So I've got 8 and I've got a 6. Remember, the crocodile eats the biggest number. So 8 is the larger number. So the widest bit of this inequality is going to go towards the 8. So 8 is greater than 6. Next, I've got 1 times 10, which is 10, times 10 gives me 100. 1 Plus 10 is 11. Plus 10 is 21. Again, 100 is larger than 21. So 100 is the biggest number. The crocodile eats the largest number, so it's the same scenario as we've just had. So again, it's another greater than. If you get any three of these correct, you will get 1 mark. 0 times 10 is 0. Times 10 is 0. So the left-hand side is 0, because 0 multiplied by anything is always 0. 0 plus 10 is 10. Add on another 10 gives me 20. So this time I've got a 0 and a 20. 20 is the largest number here. So the inequality goes the opposite way round because the crocodile always eats the biggest number. So the largest end of the inequality points towards the biggest number. So 0 is less than 20. Give yourself a big tick if you got those correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there are up to 2M, which means up to 2 method marks. The answers are given clearly on there, and you're told that if one is incorrect, you're allowed to get 1 mark for getting 3 of them correctly. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on rounding. The key words in the question are you have to pick the numbers that round to 28.7. You can see you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes, and you need to tick the numbers. Now that gives you a clue that there's going to be more than one answer. So you might end up ticking all of them. You might tick 2 of them, 3 of them, or 4 of them. So you've got to check all the numbers to work out which ones round to 28.7. And this will give you 1 mark in the exam. Your key facts. You need to round to 1 decimal place because the number you've got here in the answer is 28.7, and that has been rounded to 1 decimal place. If the second digit after the decimal point, so these numbers here after the decimal point, is 5 or more, you are going to round up the number in front. If it is 4 or less, like here, the number in front stays the same. Press pause, have a go at working out which of these 5 numbers will round to 28.7 and give yourself a tick next to the ones which will round to this number. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to have a go at working out which ones of these are round to 28.7. So we're just going to start at the top and we're going to work all the way down. So we're looking at the second decimal point after the decimal point, the second digit after the decimal point, so in the hundredths column. So the 7 here. Now we look at this number 7. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So that means it makes the number to the left a 0, goes up to a 1, so it becomes 28.1. We want 28.7, so we don't want this one. So we leave the box blank. We now go to the next one. So we look at the 5 at the end. Is it 5 or more? Yes. So that makes the next digit to the left 1 bigger. So the 6 becomes a 7. So that is 28.7, which is the number we want. So we give it a tick. The next one, we look at the 1. Is this 5 or more? No. So it is 4 or less. So because it is 4 or less, the number on the left stays the same. So this 1 just disappears, leaving me with the number 28.7. So again, this is 28.7, so you give the third one a tick. The next one, we've got a 5 here. So 5 or more, we round up. So that will make the 7 go into an 8. So that is 28.8. So that is not 28.7, so we leave this one blank. And the last one, we've got a 7 at the end, which is more than 5, so it will round the next digit up. So it will make the 9 a 10, which will actually take this number here to 29. And we wanted 28.7, so we leave the last one blank as well. Give yourself a big tick if you got those correct. Great work. Fantastic. The mark scheme shows you will get 1 mark, 1 M for getting the 2 answers correct. If you put a Y in the box or indicated the correct answers without using a tick, you would also get the mark correct. So alternative answers that are positive indication, e.g. a Y or written yes, then that is also correct. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a division question problem. You are told that 6 divides into 40 with a remainder of 4. So this is the key information from the question. And you've got to write down one other number that divides into 40 with a remainder of 4. Your answer needs to go in the box, and this will be worth 1 mark in the exam. So the key facts are that you need to know that the word remainder means how many you have left after you have divided the number. So for example, with this number here, we know that 6 goes into 40. Now we're told there's 4 left over, so 6 times 6 is 36. The remainder of 4, so 36 plus 4 will take you to 40. So that's what this bit of information here tells you. You've now got to do it with another number that divides into 40 and show that the remainder is 4 for that number, and you've got to write down your answer here. Now there are different answers you can choose, so there isn't just one answer that is correct. There are different answers, so you need to make sure you can choose one number and justify your reason, which will give you an answer of remainder of 4, and that will give you the 1 mark. So just write down the number that you think when you divide it into 40 will have a remainder of 4. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work. Okay, well done. So this is quite a tricky question working backwards. So we're told we've got a remainder of 4. So if I do 40 take away 4, that leaves me with 36. Okay, so this is the really key number. Now we're told it divides by 6 initially, so 6 times 6 is 36, and that will leave you with a remainder of 4. Now we've got to look at a different value. Now here we know the answer here was 6, but if you picked a number smaller than 6, you're unlikely to get a remainder of 4. So you need a number that goes into 36 that is going to be bigger than 6, so it has a remainder of 4. So if you think about numbers that go into 36, you've got 6 times 6, you've got 4 times 9. Now 4 is too small because it won't give you, if you put 4 into 40, you just get 10. So it doesn't have a remainder of 4. But 9 times 4 is 36. Now 9 times by 4 is 36, and that will give me a remainder of 4 from 40. So the missing number you're looking for here is the number 9. As I said, there are multiple choices that you could use, and I will show you what the mark scheme says, because there are other answers that you can use, not just this number here, 9. Give yourself a tick if you've got the number 9, or any of the answers I'm going to show you in a minute. Well done if you managed to get that correct. Great work. The mark scheme on this question shows that you could have had multiple answers for 1M, which is 1 mark. So 9 was the answer I showed you how to do, because 9 times 4 was 36. 36 from add on 4 takes you to 40, which was the number required. The same will work for 12, 18 or 36. So you can see when I had put 36 in the first place, there were automatically 4 left over. So that was the easiest option, but we chose the option here, 9. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. Now there's quite a bit of information in this question, so make sure you really read the question carefully so you understand exactly what you have got to do and you answer the question carefully. Now the key words in the question are you're told that you have got empty spaces on this side. So it says clearly at the top this is the empty spaces on level 2 and on level 1. So on level 2, which is the top floor, there are 511 empty spaces. And on level 1, there are 268 empty spaces. Now, each level has got 800 spaces. So there are 800 in total on level 1 and 800 on level 2. You've got to work out the total number of cars parked in the car park at 10 AM. And this was all correct as of 10 AM is the information here. It says you must show your method, because this question is worth 2 marks. So to get the full 2 marks, you need to show your working and get the answer correct and write it in the box provided. Now your key fact is that an empty space means there is a gap in the car park with no space or no car in that space. So that's what the empty space means. And you've got to work out the total number of cars that are parked, not how many empty ones there are, how many cars are parked in the car park. Press pause, have a think about how you'd work it out, try and have a go at working it out, and then press play when you've got yourself an answer. Fantastic work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So we know there are 800 spaces on each floor. So we're going to start off with the larger number here, the 511. So I'm going to do 800, take away the 511 to work out how many cars are on level 2. So I start with the right hand side. I can't do 0 take away 1, so I've got to borrow from the next number, which is also a 0. So I can't borrow from the 0, so I need to borrow from the 8. So I'm going to cross that out and make it a 7. I'm now borrowing a 10, so a 1 to make this a 10. I can now borrow from the 10, crossing out the 10 and making it a 9, and that puts a 10 here on the right hand side. So I've got 10 take away 1 is 9, 9 take away 1 is 8, 7 take away 5 is 2. So we've got 289 on level 2. So that's how many cars are parked on level 2. We could do a similar thing for level 1. So I've got 800 on level 1 and I'm going to take away 268 for level 1. Again, we can't borrow from zeros, so we've got to start on the left hand side here, crossing out the 8, making it a 7. I've got a 10, cross the 10 out to make it a 9. Then I'm going to borrow the 1 here, so I've now got 10 take away 8 on the right hand side, which gives me 2. 9 take away 6 is 3, and 7 take away 2 is 5. So this is how many cars are parked on level 1. Now we've got to work out the total number of cars that are parked. So these two numbers here, I've got to add them together to work out the total number of cars that are parked. So 9 plus 2 is 11, so I carry the 1 and put the 1 underneath. 8 plus 3 is again 11 plus 1 makes it 12, so I carry the 1 and put the 2 underneath. And I've got 2 plus 5 plus 1, which gives me 8. Remember to write your answer in the box provided, and that will give you the full 2 marks. The method I did by subtracting both these numbers from 800 and then adding together these two answers would give you 1 method mark. There are alternative ways to do this, so you could have added these numbers together, doubled the total number of spaces in the park to give you 1,600 and subtracted the total of these from 1,600. Either way will give you the same answer. As long as you can come up with the answer 821, it doesn't matter which way you choose to do it. You can see on the mark scheme in a minute the different ways you could have answered this question. The mark scheme on this question shows there are up to 2m, which means 2 method marks. It's personal preference as to which one of these methods you choose to use. There is no right or wrong way to do this question. As long as you can get the answer of 821, you choose which way works for you. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a circumference problem. In this question, we're going to look at the keywords, which are the word circumference. And you're told it is 60 centimetres. You're given a diagram here and you're told it's not actually to size, which means that this is not actually the exact measurements of the circle, so you can't use your ruler to measure any distances. It won't help you. You've got to work out the distance around the edge of the circle from A to B, which basically means work out this distance here. So between A and B, what is this distance? And this is worth 1 mark in the exam. You need to write your answer in the box here provided. Now to help us, we're going to look at some key facts. First of all, we need to know what the word circumference means. And the circumference is the distance all the way around the edge of the circle. So from one part all the way back until you start. So for example, if I started at point A here, I went all the way around the edge of the circle, back to part A, then that is the circumference. And we're told that distance is 60 centimetres. We have to work out the distance from here to here. Now you can see between A and B we have got a right angle. And a right angle means 90 degrees, which is a quarter of the circle. So you've got to work out the distance from A to B. We know this is a quarter of a circle. We know the total circumference is 60. What is A to B? Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and press play when you're ready to hear your answer. Fantastic work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So you should have spotted that we're looking at the circumference, which is 60, and we've got to work out a quarter of it because it's a quarter of the circle. Now 1/4 means divide by 4. So you have got to work out 60 divided by 4. Now some children will be able to do this in their head. They will just take the number 60, halve it and get 30, halve it again and they will get 15, and they will just be able to do that in a second and write the answer down. But if you can't get the answer 15 just off the top of your head, don't worry. We can use division. So we can put the 4 at the front of the division sign because that's what we're dividing by. We're dividing 60 by 4. So we have to say how many times does 4 go into 6? So that fits in once. There are 2 left over, so we write a little 2 here. I now do 4 into 20. 4 times 5 is 20. So I write 5 at the top, which means my answer is 15 centimetres. It doesn't matter which method you use to get the answer, as long as you get the answer for 15, it is only worth 1 mark. There is no extra marks for showing you're working on this question, or which method you use. As long as you can get the answer for 15, you will get it correct. Give yourself a big tick if you managed to get the correct answer. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark. 1M means 1 method mark for getting the answer 15. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question using a two-way table. Now this table here is a two-way table, and the reason it is a two-way table is because you have got information down the side and you've got information along the top, so it goes 2 ways. And when you have a two-way table, the key bits of information are the 4 bits of information here in this diagram. So you can see here you've got the age in years, so you've got 7 to 12-year-olds, 13 to 18-year-olds, so these are how old the children are. And then you've got the number of classes, so how many different classes there are. And then here you've got the number of pupils in each class. So this is information going across, and then you've got information coming down, which is why it's called a two-way table. So we're going to look at the keywords of the question and see if we can answer the question. So to start with, you are told that there are 432 places at a dance school. It tells you the information is shown in this table here. And then the question wants you to know how many more pupils can join the dance school. Now you must show your working out. It says show your method. And you must write your answer in the box provided. And this will give you 2 marks in the exam. So our key facts to help us answer this question. We need to work out the total number of students in the dance school. So in order to find the total number of students, okay, so for example, for 7 to 12-year-olds, we need to know how many classes there are, and then we're going to have to multiply it by the number of pupils in each class to work out the total number of 7 to 12-year-olds. You'll need to do a similar thing for the 13 to 18-year-olds to work out the total number of students. And once we know the total number of students, okay, we've got to find the current total students. Once we know this total number of students, we've got to take it away from the number of places, and then that will give us the answer as to how many more pupils the school can have. The word more means how many extra can you have, how many extra can they take into the school. So I've given you quite a bit of information here to help you work out this answer here. You've got to do quite a few calculations, and it is worth 2 marks. So there are quite a few calculations that you have to do in order to get the 2 marks for this. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So to start with, we need to work out how many 7 to 12-year-olds there are. So we're going to take my 15 number of classes and we're going to multiply it by 16 children in each class. So we've got to do 15 times by 16. So we're going to start off by doing 6 times 5, which is 30. So we carry the 3 and the 0 comes underneath. Then 1 times 6 is 6 plus the 3 gives me 9. So 15 times 6 is 90. We're now multiplying by this 1 here, which is actually a 10. So we have to carry a 0 down here because we're now multiplying by a 10 because this 1 is in the tens column. So I do 1 times 5, which is 5, and 1 times 1, which is 1. I then need to add these two numbers together, so 90 plus 150. 0 plus 0 is 0. 9 plus 5 is 14, so I carry the 1 and put the 4 down. Then I've got 0 plus 1, which is 2. So I've got 240 students in total at the dance. Well, no, 240 students that are 7 to 12 years old. 13 to 18-year-olds is easier to work out because you've got 10 classes and 18 pupils in each class. So 10 times 18, add a 0 to the number 18 is just 180. I've now got to add together my 240 and my 180. So the answer I've got here and here, add these two answers together to give me the total number of students. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 4 plus 8 is 12. So carry the 1 and the 2 comes beneath. 2 plus 1 is 4. So I've got 420. Now, I've got 332 places at the dance school. So I need to take this 432. We know there are currently 420 students at the school. So to work out how many more pupils can join, we need to subtract these two numbers. So 2 take away 0 is 2. 3 take away 2 is 1. And 4 take away 4 is 0. So the answer is 12. And this gives us 2 marks for the exam. The mark scheme on this question shows that the answer is 12, and you get 2 marks if you get the answer 12. Now, if you make a mistake when you're working the answer out, you can get a method mark. So you can get 1 method mark for getting the number 420 from working out the sum of the 2 correct products. Or if you used this method here and you got wrong numbers as you went through, you can get a mark for doing that. There is up to 2 marks, so 2m means 2 marks. So make sure you look at your answer carefully and make sure you see how many marks you can get. It says if you've misread the question, you are not allowed any marks. You must read the question really carefully. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a number problem. We're going to look at the diagram and you can see that you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles and 1, 2, 3, 4 circles. Now these triangles here are connected by a line, and the reason they're connected is because it talks about this diagonal. So you're told in the question that each shape stands for a number. So a triangle is equivalent to a number, and you've got to work out what that number is and put it in this box for the triangle, and the same for the circle. You're told that the total of the shape on the diagonal is 48. So that means these 3 triangles here added together is 48. So the total of the diagonals is 48. You're told that the total of all the shapes, so if you add all of these 9 shapes together, the answer is 200. You've got to work out the value of each shape. So what is the value of the triangle worth and what is the value of the circle worth? And this is worth 1 mark for each shape. Now our key facts to help us. We need to know that this word here, total, means add. So if I added together this triangle plus this triangle in the middle and the triangle in the bottom right, the answer is going to be 48. So if I'm given the total of 3 numbers, to find the value of 1 number, I just need to divide by 3. So that will help me work out what this value here is for one of the triangles. Once you've got your triangles, you can then work out your circles. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you've got an answer. Great work. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer and you've worked out what the triangles and the circle are. So to start with, we're told that the diagonal is 48. So 1, 2, 3 triangles together is 48. So the sum we're going to do is a divide. We're going to take my 48 and I'm going to divide it by 3. So I say, how many times does 3 go into 4? It goes in once, and there is 1 left over. Now I've got 3 into 18, which goes 6, which means my triangle is worth 16. So every triangle in the diagram is worth 16. So I can add in all these 16s on the diagram. Now you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 triangles. So to work out the total of the triangles, if I do 16 times 5, or 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16, whichever you're more comfortable with doing, then that will tell me what the total of the triangles is. So to multiply by 5, we can do it quite easily in our head. So the easiest way to multiply by 5 is to multiply by 10 and then halve it. So multiplying by 10, 16 times 10 is 160. Half of 160 is 80. So 16 times 5 is 80. You could have done it by doing 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16 and just written it out as a long list and added them. Or you could have done 16 times 5 with the 5 underneath and then done 5 times 6 is 30. And then 1 times 5 is 5. Plus on the 3 gives you 8. So you've got 80. You get the same answer. As long as you can get the answer, it doesn't matter which method you use. We're now told the total of all the shapes is 200. So this 80 for all these triangles plus these 4 circles has got to give me 200. So if I do 200 take away the 80, then that will tell me what the circles is. So 0 take away 0 is 0. 0 take away 8 I can't do, so I've got to borrow from the 2. So I'm going to cross that out, make it a 1. And now I've put a 10 here, so I've got 10 take away 8, which is 2. 1 take away nothing is 1, so I've got 120. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 circles in total have got to have a value of 120. So I've got to work out what one circle is. So to find one circle, we've got to do the 120 and we're going to divide it by the 4 circles. 4 doesn't fit into 1, so we put 0 and then we carry the 1 over. 4 into 12 goes 3 times and 4 into nothing goes 0. So each circle is worth 30. So if you added together 16 plus 30 plus 16 plus 30 plus 16 plus 30 plus 16 plus 30 plus 16, the answer would be 200. And you could check that if you want to, but you probably won't have a lot of time in the exam because you're pretty tight on time. So you can come back and check it later on if you need to, if you've got some time. Otherwise, move on to the next question. Give yourself a big tick if you got 16 and 30 correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there is 1 mark for the 16 and 1 M, which means 1 mark for the 30. The mark scheme has called it A and B, basically means triangle and circle to get your answers. You would be getting 1 mark if you did 200 take away 5 times some number divided by 4. If you did that calculation, that would give you 1 mark, or either of these answers will give you 1 mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a ratio and number problem. The key parts of the question are that you're told that you're making green paint. And to make green paint, you need to use blue and yellow paint because blue plus yellow makes green. And the ratio we're using to make the specific green paint here is 250 millilitres of blue and 1150 millilitres of yellow makes my green. Now we're told we're going to be making green paint and we're using 750 ml of blue paint. We've got to work out how much green paint does he make. Now show your methods on the left hand side. This means you must show your working out. So any adding, subtracting, multiplying or dividing that you do needs to be written down in this box here. And then your final answer gets written in the little box here on the right hand side. And this is where you write your final answer. And this will give you 2 marks. You will get a mark for your method if your method's correct if you don't get the final answer for the actual answer. Now the key facts you're going to need for this question is we need to compare the ratio for the blue part first. So you're going to compare your blue component. We started off with 250 ml of blue. We now have 750 ml of blue. How many times bigger is that? Then using that answer you've just worked out, you're then going to compare the amount for the yellow. So you're going to use the same ratio for the yellow. And then once you know how much yellow you've got and how much blue you've got, we know there's 750 of blue. If you add together your total blue and your total yellow, you will get the total amount of green. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer, and then press play when you think you've got your answer. Great work, guys. Hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. So we're going to be comparing the blue to the yellow. So we can do this as a ratio. So we've got the blue component, and we have these two dots here, this colon, and then we have the yellow. So it just means we're comparing the blue and the yellow. So the blue we know is 250 ml, and the yellow we know is 1150. So I'm just going to write them under the correct column. So blue is 250, yellow is 1150. Just written them in the same column. So we've got blue, then yellow, blue, then yellow. We now know in the question that we have got 750 ml of blue paint. So we're told that we've got 750 ml. So we need to work out, how do we get from 250 to 750? So you've got to work out how you're going to get from 250 to 750. You'll spot that they've both got a 0 on the end. But you've got to work out how many times does 25 then go into 75. So if we double 25, you'll get 50. Add on another 25 to that, that gives you 75. So that is 3 times bigger. So times by 3. So 25 plus 25 is 50. Add on another 25 gives me 75. And then you've got your zeros you could be adding on at the end. So 250 times by 3 is 750. So that means we need to do the same to the yellow. So I've got 1150 of yellow to start with. I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to multiply this side by 3, and I need to work out how much yellow paint I've got. So the calculation we're going to do is 1150 times by 3. So 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15, so we carry a 1 and put the 5 underneath. 3 times 1 is 3, plus this 1 here, which is a 4. And 3 times 1 is just 3. So I have got 3,450 millilitres of yellow paint. So he's used 750 of blue, and he must use 3,450 of yellow in order to make the correct amount of green paint. So the question says, how much green paint does he make? So we need to know how much green paint he's making. So we need to add together these two values here in order to find out how much green paint there is. So I'm going to take my 3,450 plus my 750. 0 plus 0 is 0. 5 plus 5 is 10, so carry the 1 and put the 0 down. 7 plus 4, now 7 plus 3 is 10 because that's a number bond. Add on the extra 1 is 11, plus this 1 here gives me 12, so carry the 1 and 2 down. And 3 plus 1 is 4. So your answer is 4,200. You need to make sure you write your answer in the box nice and clearly. So this is the total number of or amount of green paint that we're going to be using. Give yourself a big tick if you got this correct. It's quite a tricky question to understand what you've got to do when you're multiplying. But if you set your work out nice and clearly, then you're not going to go wrong. So well done if you managed to get the correct answer. Great work. The mark scheme on this question says there are 2 marks for getting the answer of 4,200. So here are 2 marks. On the right hand side here it says up to 2m, which means up to 2 marks. So it's a maximum of 2 marks. If you showed the correct working, you will get 1 mark. Or if you got the answer 3,450 or 3.45 or 3.450, then you will get 1 mark for getting any of these values. To get the full 2 marks, you need to get the full answer 4,200. You do not need to have a comma in your answer, but it's up to you if you put that there. Make sure that comma is nice and small if you have got a comma there, so it doesn't get confused with a 1. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we all get great at maths. To start with in this question, we're going to look at the keywords in the question. We're told that we've got a bag, and you can see the bag here, and it is weighing 1.25 kilograms. So the weight of all the fruit and the bag weigh 1.25 kilograms. We're told that the banana is taken out. So you can see a banana sticking up here. It's going to be taken out of the bag, and the bag is now going to weigh 1.1 kilograms. Now an orange is going to be taken out. So you can see the orange here. It's going to be taken out of the bag. You're told the bag now weighs 920 grams. You've got to work out how much more does the orange weigh than the banana. Now on the left hand side here it says show your method. That means write down your working. How are you getting the answers? What you have to do is called your working. Then you need to write your final answer in this box here, and this will give you 2 marks in the exam. So our key facts. You need to know that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. And that means if you are converting from kilograms into grams, you need to multiply by 1,000. So you are going to be converting your kilograms into grams. So to get from kilograms into grams, we need to multiply by 1,000. So to get from 1 to 1,000, we need to multiply by 1,000. Now the question says the word more. So over here on the left hand side it says the word more. Now this means the difference between the two values. So the difference between the weight of a banana and the orange. I.e. you've got to subtract the two values. So you're going to take the weight of a banana and the weight of the orange and you've got to subtract them to work out how much more. Press pause, have a go at working out the answer and then press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Great work, hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer and we will see if you are correct. So to start with, we're going to look at how much the bag was to start with, which was 1.25 kilograms. And now we know the bag weighs 1.1 kilogram. Now 1.1 kilogram is 1.1. Remember to line up your decimal points and the 0 needs to be added so it makes it easier to subtract the numbers. Now some children will be able to look at these two numbers and subtract them in their head. That is absolutely fine. If you can look at the two numbers and subtract them in your head, you could just write down your answer, but you should write down what you were doing because it says on the left hand side here, show your method. So you should write down that you were doing 1.25 take away 1.1. Now when we do the subtraction of these numbers, we're going to do 5 take away 0. 5 take away 0 is 5. 2 take away 1 is 1. The decimal point stays in line, so there's a decimal point here, and 1 take away 1 is 0. So the answer is 0.15, and this is in kilograms, and that is the weight of a banana, because you were told that the banana has been taken out, so that means the banana weighs 0.15 kilograms. Now you could do this in your head, as I said, it doesn't matter as long as you can come up with that the banana is 0.15 kilograms. Now, if you look at the next calculation, you're told that the bag weighs 920 grams. So we need to know how many grams this banana is to help us work out the answer later on. So we need to know what 0.15 of a kilogram is in grams because we're going to be using grams later on. So over here, we've said to convert from kilograms into grams, we're going to multiply by 1,000. So I need to multiply by 1,000. So these are our place values and we're going to put in the 0.15 in the correct places. Okay, so I've got 0.15. Now when we multiply by 1,000, we are going to move the digits. Now this digit here is the first non-zero digit. So this is the first one I'm interested in, this 1. Now when we multiply by 1,000, we're going to make the number bigger. So multiply means make the number bigger, which means the digits are going to move to the left. The number of places the digit moves to the left is how many zeros there are after this 1. So there's 1, 2, 3 zeros. So we're going to move the 1 3 places to the left. So when we multiply by 1,000, the digits move 3 places to the left. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So the 1 appears in the hundreds column. We're now going to take the 5 and do the same. It's going to move 1, 2, 3. And that moves to the tens column. In the gap, here in the ones column, we need to put a 0. Anything behind the decimal point is irrelevant. We don't need to worry about that. But we need to make sure all these columns here are completed. So we've got 150. Now some of your parents may like to move the decimal point rather than moving the digits. You get to exactly the same answer. It is personal preference as to which way you do it. So if you were going to move the decimal point starts between the 0 and the 1 and it moves 1, 2, 3 places to the right, and in this gap where you had nothing, you need to put the 0 in. So you get exactly the same answer whether you move the digits or whether you move the decimal point. It is personal preference. The digits move to the left, the decimal point moves to the right. But it's basically making this number larger. So you know if you've got 0.15 a decimal, to make it larger, the digits need to move to the left or the decimal point moves to the right. So we've got the number 150 grams. So this banana is 150 grams. Now the banana is out of the bag, and the bag weighs 1.1 kilogram without the banana in. And then we're now going to take an orange out, and that weighs the bag now weighs 920 grams. So to work out how much the orange weighs, we've got to subtract these two numbers here, the 1.1 take away the 920. But again, these units are different, so I've got to convert my 1.1 kilograms into grams. So I'm going to take the 1 and I'm going to multiply it by 1,000, like I said here, to make it into grams. So the 1 has got to move 3 digits to the left, like what we did with the 0.15. So this 1 is going to go 1, 2, 3 places across, and it's going to join the thousands column. The next one is going to move 3 across, 1, 2, 3 across, and the 1 appears here. Now I've got 2 gaps here, one for the tens column and one for the ones column. So I can put zeros in between here. So I've got 1,100 grams. So I'm going to do 1,100 grams because that is 1.1 kilograms, take away 920. Again, some people will be able to do this in their head. It's personal preference how you get the answer. I'm just going to show you the column method in case you can't work out the answer using a number line or in your head. So we've got 0 take away 0 is nothing. So we put a 0 here. We've now got 0 take away 2 that we can't do. So we're going to borrow from this 1 here on the left to the next of this 0. So we're going to cross the 1 out, make it a 0. And I'm going to borrow a 1, which makes this a 10 now. So I've got 10 take away 2, which is 8. 0 take away 9, which I can't do, so I need to cross this 1 out and borrow, make that a 0, and then put a 1 in front. So I've now got 10 take away 9. 10 take away 9 is 180, and that is 180 grams for the orange. You could have seen that you've got 920. You could have added 80 to make it up to 1,000. And then to get to the 1,100, you need to add on another 100, which also gives you the 180. So you could have broken it down and into parts and gone from 920 up to 1,000 and then up to 1,100. Will also give you 180 grams. It's a different way of thinking about it. But the question wants to know how much more does the orange weigh than the banana. So the orange weighs 180 grams, the banana weighs 150 grams, so I've got to subtract these two numbers. Now the method we've written down to this point here would give you 1 mark in the exam. But to get the full 2 marks, we need to get the answer correct. So 0 take away 0 is 0, 8 take away 5 is 3, and 1 take away 1 is 0, so your answer is 30. Give yourself a big tick if you got that correct. There was a lot of calculations to do for the 2 marks. So you had to do 2 subtractions and multiplying by 1,000 twice in order to be able to get the answer. Your working needs to be shown within this box. It will be larger when it comes to the exam paper for you, so you will have more space than I have got here to write it all out. You don't need to show the working on this if you can just do it in your head. It's personal preference whether you need to see it written down to move the digits across or you just work it out in your head. Give yourself a big tick if you got it correct. Well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there are 2 marks for the answer of 30. So up to 2M means up to 2 marks. If you got the answer 30 and wrote it in the box, you get the full 2 marks. You get 1 mark for evidence of these calculations here. Error means if you made a mistake with the calculation, you will get the method mark, or you will get 1 mark for a correct weight of the banana and the orange. So if you got to 0.15 kilograms and 180 grams or equivalent, you would also get 1 mark. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is an angles question. And the key facts in the question are we've got an isosceles triangle. You can see your isosceles triangle here. And then you're told it is inside a rectangle. You've got to calculate the sizes of angle X, which is this angle down here, and angle Y, this is this angle here. You're told the diagram is not to scale, which means you cannot use a ruler or protractor to measure any sides or any angles. You must show your working, so you've got space in here to write your working, and then your final answers need to go in these two boxes. And this will be worth 2 marks in the exam. Our key facts are that angles in a triangle, so the 3 angles here in the triangle, add up to 180. So the angle here at the bottom, the angle here, and 30 all add up to make 180. You should know that an isosceles triangle has 2 angles and 2 sides that are equal. Now if you look at this diagram here, you can see that this length and this length are the same length, and the angle at the bottom and the angle down here will also be the same. So that's what it means when it says it's an isosceles triangle, that these 2 angles at the bottom are equal. So if this one is X here, this angle over here is also X. You're also told you've got a rectangle, and within a rectangle, all the corners are right angles. So at the 4 corners, you have got 4 right angles. And a right angle, you need to know, is 90 degrees. Press pause, use these facts, see if you can work out the value X and the value Y. Press play when you're ready to hear the answer. Fantastic work, guys. So hopefully you've managed to come up with an answer. And we're always going to start off by working out the first letter, which is the letter X. So X is in the triangle, so we're going to be using the fact about isosceles triangles to work out the angle X. Now we know the 3 angles add up to 180. So if I do 180, take away the angle that has been given, 180 take away 30 will tell me what the other 2 angles are. Now 180 take away 30. We can do it by using column notation if you need to, or you can just think about your tens. You've got 8 tens, take away 3 tens, or 80 take away 30. 8 take away 3 is 5. So we've got 80 take away 30 is 50. For hundreds at the beginning, so we've got 150. As I said, you can do it in column notation if it helps you. Once I've got this 150, that is the size of this angle down the bottom, X, and the angle on the other side, which is also X, so it's the size of both of these angles. So I've got to share this 150 in 2, because I've got to have equal size angles at the bottom. So I'm going to do 150 divided by 2. Now dividing by 2 is the same as halving. Now you can halve it in your head if you're good, or if you need a little bit more help, you can use the bus stop method. So we've got 150 divided by 2, so we could say 2 into 1 doesn't go, so we put a 0. Move the 1 across here because there's 1 left over. We've now got 2 into 15, which is 7. Again, there is 1 left over to make it 15. Then it's 2 into 10, which is 5. So we've got the number 75. Doing it in your head, a half of 100 is 50. A half of 50 is 25. 50 plus 25 is 75. So you can get the same answer without having to do this working if you prefer. So that means that each of these angles here in the diagram are going to be 75. So this angle here will be 75. So this is my value for X. So you can write it in the box down here. X will be 75. That means this angle over here is also 75. You will get 1 mark for getting this angle here of 75. We now need to work out the angle Y. Now we know we've got a right angle here because this is a rectangle, and at a right angle we have got 90 degrees. So I have got to do 90 take away 75. Again, some of you will be able to do that in your head or work out what do you add to 75 to get to 90. Absolutely fine. Or you can do it in column notation if you struggle. 0 take away 5 we can't do, so we need to cross out the 9 and make it an 8. So we're going to borrow 1 from the tens column and put a 1 in here. So I've got 1 10. So this is 10 take away 5, which is 5. 8 take away 7, which is 1. So we've got the number 15. So the angle Y is 15 degrees, and you need to write it in the box down here to get your second mark. Give yourself a big tick if you got those correct. Great work, well done. The mark scheme on this question shows there are 2 marks for getting the 75 and the 15. If the answer is incorrect, you can get 1 mark for showing you're working. So either doing 180 take away 30 is 150, halving it, so making a mistake there. So this error here, if you made a mistake and got 70 instead of 75, for example, or whatever your error is, and try to do 90 take away your answer, you would get 1 mark. Or you can get 1 mark for either getting X or Y correct. That is a total of up to 2M, which means up to 2 method marks. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. This is a question on transformations. The key words in the question are that we have got a triangle and then we have got to first translate. So what that means is we're going to translate the shape that has been given here. And it tells us we're translating it by 7 units down. Then we've got to reflect the resulting triangle. So that means the answer you have got to this one up here. So once you have translated it 7 units down, you must reflect that answer in the y-axis. You've got to draw this on a new triangle on the grid after each transformation. So you should be drawing 2 more triangles onto this grid, and that will be worth 2 marks in the exam. You must use a ruler to make sure your lines are nice and straight. The key facts in this question are to know what the words mean. So translate. Basically it means move the shape in the direction given. So in this case it means 7 units down. So this shape here has got to move down by 7 units. You've got to keep the shape exactly the same size and the same way round. So the pointy bit on the right will still be on the pointy bit on the right here when you move it down. Next, it tells us we've got to reflect the answer you've just worked out in the y-axis. So reflect means flip the shape in the mirror line. Now the mirror line that has been given is the y-axis, and the y-axis is the vertical line down in the middle of your diagram. So you can see up here you've got the y, so this is the y-axis, this whole line down here. So the answer you get once you've got this shape here and you've moved it down by 7, you've got to flip it in this y-axis and draw your triangle over here. Press pause, have a go at drawing out the diagram, preferably on square paper, then press play when you've got an answer. Fantastic work. Hopefully you've managed to translate this shape down and then reflect it over here. I'm going to show you how to do it. If you struggle to do it because you don't have any square paper, you can take a picture of the question and then on your phone you can just write on your phone and then use the grid here or tablet or whatever you've got, so you can write over the picture if you'd rather do it by taking a picture if you don't have square paper. So you can still do it. So we're going to start off by translating. So 7 units down, we're going to look at the top left hand corner. So this shape here, the top corner of the triangle, I'm going to move down 7 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going to put a cross in the place. So put a cross here. Next we're going to take the bottom corner here and move it down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again we're going to put a cross in this place here. Notice these 2 points are directly underneath each other and directly under the points that were initially given. We're now going to take the point on the right hand side and move it down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we put a cross where this point is. Once we've put the crosses where each of these points are, we just need to join the points up for your first mark, and this is drawing the first triangle where we have translated the shape by 7 units down. Next, we've got to reflect the resulting triangle. Now, this is the resulting triangle, the new answer we've got here. We're going to reflect it in the y-axis. So draw on your y-axis so you can clearly see where you are reflecting the shape in. So basically, we've got to pretend this is a mirror, and if you looked in the mirror, what would you see? What happens to this shape? Where is it going to go to? So you should be able to see that it's going to flip over onto the right-hand side. Now, to help us do that, in the exam you're allowed to ask for tracing paper if you need tracing paper to help you, or you can just count some squares. So this point here, the top, is 1 square away from the y-axis. So when we flip it over, it goes 1 square the other side. Same here, this square, this point at the bottom is 1 square away from the y-axis, and we can just flip it over. The point over here on the right hand side is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares away from the y-axis. So we need to go 5 squares to the other direction, so to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we put a cross here. Once you've got the 3 corners, you can just draw the points together to form the last triangle, and this will give you the second mark in the exam. Please have a big tick if you got that correct. Great work. It is tricky because you've got 2 steps to do here. First translate and then rotate. As I said in the exam, you are allowed to ask for tracing paper if it helps you to flip the shape over. So you can draw around the shape on the tracing paper, draw in your y-axis, flip the tracing paper over and then work out where the new shape goes. As I say, personally, it's easier just to count the squares because then you know exactly where the corners go, because this one over here may get a bit out of place, and if you're not accurate where you're plotting, you may lose the mark. The mark scheme on this question shows there are up to 2m, which means up to 2 marks. The diagram is shown out, so this is what happened after the first transformation. We went to A and then going to triangle B. You get 1 mark if you got either triangle A or triangle B correct, but you need a mark, a correct reflection or an incorrect translation triangle, you will get a mark. So if you make a mistake on any part of these, you will get a mark. But to get the full marks, you need to make sure that you draw it out accurately and get A and then B on your diagram. If you found this video useful, please share, like and subscribe so we can all get great at maths. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to share, like and subscribe. Please follow Get Great at Maths on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and X. What do you want to see next on Get Great at Maths? Please comment below. See you next time.